Hey, today I'm planting a second planting in summer in June for a fall harvest. It's bed number 2, and we're doing a slightly different flavor than the first bed. We're calling the first bed over here with the trellis. We did winter squash, pinto beans, and our existing onion with a little bit of flowers. Here in this new bed, we're doing glass gem corn, which is a beautiful heirloom corn. And is wonderful for either corn or for grinding, making tortillas, and doing a different black bean for harvesting in fall as well, a black turtle bean, and more chaos flowers. My name is Wendy. I've been planting in this hot planting zone 9B for about 15 years. I love heirloom seeds and growing from seed. We do a lot of seed saving around here. So if you are into that as well, get on board and subscribe and join me on this journey. You may notice I have some onions that are still in this bed. I'm leaving those because I want them to size up a little bit more. And they also will provide a little bit of pest resistance too, along with the marigold. So I'm keeping them right in there. Corn, located right here, is the star of this bed for me. In front, I've got a little row of black turtle bean. Again, that is a low effort, high return bean because I'm going to use it both for storage to keep over the winter and beyond, and also save that crop, save those seeds so that I can plant it out next year as well. And then around the edges here, I did something a little different than I normally do. I'm usually not, I think it's great for you folks that can do a chaos garden. I'm doing a sort of a controlled chaos garden with the flowers here. I planted zinnias and marigold and just kind of tossed them about, scattered it, a little bit of soil on top, keep it watered in, and there you go. Here in Zone 9B, our hottest month is September. So now is a perfect time in mid-June to plant now for harvesting in October. In this bed, I'm going to do a thick planting in a block. This entire bed and the bed next to it are designed specifically for fall harvest and for long-term storage. The beans in that bed to really add nutrition into the bed while also giving us a storage crop as well. So those seeds that we'll get from the beans, we're going to let the plant grow to maturity, let the beans dry out in the pods on the plant itself, and save the best ones for next year, and then use the rest for storage in soups and stews and chilies for the winter. It's a good plan for saving money throughout the fall. Instead of buying those terrible grocery store bags of beans, which are inexpensive, however, really poor quality. You've got broken beans in there, you've got rocks you've got to clean through. Here you've got a good quality bean that you've actually grown yourself. I don't know if you've ever seen the pricing on heirloom beans in the grocery store. If you get a good quality heirloom bean, bag of those beans, they are expensive. So here you're creating it yourself and saving a ton of money. Another option, if you did not want to use a bush bean, you can also use a pole bean. In that scenario, plant one bean on either side of each corn. So you're putting one corn kernel in the middle, one pole bean on either side. As they grow, the beans will just crawl right up the corn stalks for support. Bean I grew this year that is growing incredibly well is a red noodle bean. That one can be sown all the way through midsummer. It really enjoys hot weather. Unlike some other beans that I've grown, but I noticed this one does, and it has the most gorgeous flower I've ever seen. It's lilac purple, just so pretty. So that's one recommendation that I would make here for you if you decide to do a pole bean instead of a bush bean. Now, if you go that route, then that will actually leave more of the bed around. You can plant something else, a pepper or an eggplant, something like that, just to take up that extra space. You'll have a little bit more room. This is my summer patch of corn. Now, the reason we want to plant really thickly is because you really want a nice full ear of corn. Corn is wind pollinated. So when it pollinates from this tassel. And the tassel contains all the pollinators it needs to pollinate those ears. If you're ever not getting enough wind on your corn, you can come out and help it out a little bit. Just give it a little shake. I do that all the time. It's these tassels that fill in and germinate the corn and help them fill in, get nice and big. Now here, for the sweet corn, I only did 2 rows and I did them kind of close together so that they could actually germinate better that way. But the logic for the new bed is to put them in a thicker block so I can get more grain out of it. So I'm doing like a 4x4, 16, so that I can get a good amount of corn. Because I'm doing multi-use. This glass gem corn I'm so excited about. It's got a beautiful coloring. It's an heirloom. Been grown for many, many years. I've never grown it before, but I'm super excited about it. So again, we're going to use it for popcorn. We're going to use it for a little bit of grain, and we'll save some as well for next year. And a little bit more about timing. If you're in Zone 9B, you know you have a long summer, a lot of runway, so that you can do 2 growth cycles of corn. I do this frequently. So this was my first cycle. This is coming out. And then the second cycle will be the glass gem corn. The reason we do that, corn can really cross-pollinate very easily. So you want to avoid that. Now, once the corn starts to come up, I'm going to actually place some stakes in the middle. So, for example, on my sweet corn bed, you'll see that I have some stakes in there intermittently. We have some very high winds here, and they can take down the corn. So I'll just put some stakes in there once those seeds start to germinate, and then just leave those stakes in there. So once I see any wind coming up and those corn stalks are getting taller, I'll go ahead and stake those on. You'll note also that I have the watering system in place already. I definitely recommend that. You want to just make sure that it's all laid out and ready so that you can give a good deep water. Now, my plan for watering always is 1 to 2 inches a week, and I water deeply. Rather than infrequent, shallow waterings, do 1 or 2 times a week deep watering. I usually just set that soaker on and leave it for 10 minutes. Essentially, what you want is for the corn, beans, anything that you have growing, you want them to really reach down and develop that good, healthy root system. Really reach down for that water. There's a method for this madness because in our hot climate, if you're gardening in a hot climate, you want to develop that good, healthy root system so that when heat waves come, your plants will be better prepared to handle that heat. They'll know how to reach down and get the water that they need. They'll be less stressed out and they'll survive those heat waves better. Planted from seed, of course. During this time, while they're in the seedling stage, if you get a spike of heat over 90 degrees, go ahead and just give it a little bit of cover. Put some shade cloth over it or a regular sheet during the hottest parts of the day just to give them a break from the heat. So between the glass gem corn bed and my winter squash bed, I have a couple of goals. One, winter squash, timed to be coming into harvest right around Halloween time. So I can use the cool stalks from the corn for decoration as well as the winter squash, right? After Halloween, I will roast up that winter squash and make some really nice puree. I use that puree for many things. One, I will use it for baking, pies and breads and muffins. One year for Christmas, I baked several loaves and gave them away as Christmas gifts to neighbors and the like. They love that kind of stuff. It comes right from your garden. It's just so nutritious and so delicious. In addition to that, you'll have these lovely beans that are coming in. You'll have a couple of different types. I did black turtle in one. In that first bed, I've got pinto beans. So I'll have those to last throughout the winter. And of course, saving all those seeds for replanting next year, both for the winter squash and for the heirloom beans. So in addition, all my uses for the winter squash, pies, breads, muffins, even pancakes. And when my dog gets sick, give them a couple tablespoons on top of their food. Roast baked winter squash with a little bit of olive oil, puree it up in a food processor, and then I freeze them in individual bags, 1 or 2 cups per bag. So that way it's always ready, right? So if I want a cup or 2 to make muffins, got the perfect measurement. If I need some for my dog, he gets sick, I use the smallest bag and I just defrost it right in the fridge and then scoop some out as I need to give to him. All right, so if you haven't seen my winter squash bed, number 1, I'll link it at the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.